Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Rachel Waldorf. If you are new here, hello. I am a Seattle-based vlogger. So today we are going to be talking about the pros and the cons of living in Seattle. There's a lot of pros and there's a lot of cons, but I've narrowed it down to 5 pros and 5 cons. So that's what we're going to talk about today. If you guys end up liking this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. It totally lets me know what kind of videos you want to see, and subscribe to my channel if you want more Seattle content. Okay, let's get into the video. Okay, so let's start with the cons so we can get the bad out of the way and then focus on the good. Deal? Deal. Okay, so my first con for living in Seattle is gonna be the traffic. So people don't really think of traffic when they think of Seattle because we're not LA or New York, but traffic can definitely be a clusterfuck. And not only is traffic bad like during your 9 to 5 type hours, but really it's more like 7 to 6-ish, which is pretty bad. Even 7 it can be bad. But also just the whole layout of the city is really not designed super well, in my opinion. If you like miss your exit, it's really hard to turn around and you lose a lot of time, if that makes sense. I just feel like the city wasn't built super strategically, and that really can mess a lot of things up, especially if you are in a time crunch. So just getting around the city in a whole can kind of be a mess. It's not the easiest city to navigate to, but once you kind of learn it and get around, then it's not so bad. But traffic and the layout of the city is definitely, in my opinion, a con. Okay, moving on. So if you haven't already guessed, the weather is going to be my second one, and this can be a pro or a con depending on what kind of weather you like, but I kind of wanted to lump into this that not only can the weather be gloomy and rainy and cloudy for like 7 to 8 months out of the year, but also we have a lot of natural disasters just waiting to explode in our faces, and it's terrifying. Like, do not look up how close Seattle is to an earthquake or volcanoes erupting, because it is close and it is so scary because it is a real thing. If natural disasters are a really huge thing on your list, it's for sure a con to be here. Not a lot has happened yet, but it could, so keep that in mind. Okay, moving on. Okay, so my third con is going to be the amount of homeless people there are in Seattle. First of all, I just want to say that I don't have an issue with any homeless people because they've never done anything to me. They've actually been quite nice, but we have like a lot of homeless people, which makes our city look like we don't got our shit together, which kind of sucks. There's literally like a community of tents under I-5, and it's kind of odd to see, especially if you're just traveling and visiting here. People look at that and they're like, oh, Seattle, cool. And they're not just like older people, a lot of them are young kids, and it sucks to see that because when you see somebody your own age living out of a tent, it just doesn't put a good taste in your mouth. So yeah, in my opinion, the amount of homeless people we have here, it sucks, and I know we have a lot of really great people that are helping homeless people and helping them get off the streets, but it's definitely a problem in Seattle. Number 4. So my fourth con of living in Seattle is the passive motherfucking people in this city. First of all, if you know anything about me, you know I talk about the Seattle phrase, not hard to make friends, whatever, to each their own, but I will say this, sure, to some it's hard to make friends, but the people here are so passive aggressive. And what I mean by this is people are just so chill, whether that's at work, whether that's trying to make friends, whether that's picking somebody up at a bar. People are passive aggressive and it sucks. Make a move, be efficient, do work. Like, people here, especially like work and work ethic, I'm not saying people don't work hard here because they do, but a lot of companies are very lax and chill. Sometimes it can be super hard to get things done or meet new people or stay in contact with people because how passive aggressive they are. So to me, 100% the passive aggressiveness in Seattle needs to stop, and it's a con. Okay, moving on. Okay, my 5th and final con for living in Seattle, Washington is, drum roll please, the housing. The housing. The housing. Of course, housing in Seattle is going to be a con because it's expensive for sometimes nothing. Like, you could probably live in a nicer garbage can than an apartment. I just think that the housing keeps going up and it's harder to find places. You have to jump on places, and with any growing city, it's gonna happen, but the housing in Seattle, whether it's price or what you're getting for the price, sucks. Okay guys, we got all the bad stuff out of the way, let's move on to the pros. Okay, so my first pro of living in Seattle, Washington is going to be that there are lots of opportunities. And whether that is working or whether that's working or doing creative endeavors. There's a lot of things going on over here that you can be a part of. It's a great place to be involved, do creative stuff, find a good job. I think Seattle's really great for that. We have a ton of huge companies like Amazon, Nordstrom, Microsoft, etc. And that could totally be a con. Like having too many huge companies in one place can totally be a con, but I see it as a positive because people are getting jobs over here, people are moving to get jobs over here, and it's a booming business. Of course, that can kind of stab us in the back with other things like housing, but for the most part, having Amazon here, for example, kind of rocks. Okay, my second pro is going to be Seattle, Washington is a beautiful place to live. So Seattle is very lush, it's very green, but we have like a little bit of everything. We have
desert, we have forest, we have ocean, we have flatlands, we have hills, we have mountains, we have a little bit of everything, and that's super nice, especially if you crave a little bit of beach.
If you want to be in like a deserty type place, you have the opportunity to do that. If you want to go hiking and go to the mountains, you have the opportunity to do that. If you want to go to the ocean, you can go do that. It's a beautiful place to be, and it's definitely one of the reasons I think it's so expensive here, because it's lovely to live in. There's a lot of flowers, there's a lot of fresh fruits and veggies, and it's definitely a very, very beautiful place. Okay, my third pro is going to be that Seattle is definitely, in my opinion, one of the more safer cities to live in. If you're looking around at different cities, every city has pros and cons, but I think Seattle is definitely a safer city to live in. Of course it's a city, so you have weird things going on, but it's not a city where you're constantly like looking over your shoulder like, oh my god, I feel like something weird is happening. It's somewhat safe, and I feel like people are always out doing stuff, so you're never just like alone, because I've been in cities where I'm kind of like, okay, I don't feel super good here, like there's something a little off, but I feel like in Seattle I don't have any issues with that. And of course with any city you're gonna have theft and burglary and stuff like that, but I feel like the police department here always keeps us up to date on things that are going on, and they're just very quick to respond. So that's just my opinion. Curious to know you guys' opinion on that. Okay, let's move on. Okay, my fourth pro is going to be that Seattle is a very politically aware, socially aware, environmentally aware area to be in. Lump those all together, and I just think Seattle as a whole is a very aware city to live in, which is great because it keeps you up on politics, keeps you up on what the hell is going on in our world. And not only that, we are very like environmentally consciously green over here, so we compost, we recycle, and you get in trouble if you don't do those things. It's super important that those things are going on, and I feel like Seattle is a city that's quick to jump to trying to make the world a better place, even though that might sound cliche and weird, but like we just try our best to be environmentally conscious, politically conscious, and just socially aware of our surroundings and what's going on, which I think is pretty freaking cool. Okay guys, and my last pro is going to be that Seattle, Washington is very LGBTQ positive and welcoming and friendly. Everybody over here is doing their own thing, and everybody over here is very liberal, so it doesn't feel like anybody is gonna like hate on you for wearing the most weird abstract thing or for kissing a boy or a girl. It's just, it doesn't matter here at all, and that's awesome. I feel like every city should be like this, and it honestly sucks that every city isn't. But if you're looking for a place that's very sex positive and caters to sexual orientation or just who you are as a human, Seattle, in my opinion, is that place. You know, everybody's kind of doing their own thing and very unconcerned with what you're doing. So I don't know, I think it's pretty great and very progressive and awesome to live in a city like this. Okay guys, that kind of concludes this video. I hope that you like this, and I know that there's a ton more pros and I know that there's a ton more cons, so if you feel like I missed any, definitely leave them in the comments below. I would love to read them. As always, have a beautiful evening and day wherever you are, and I will see you in the next video.